The next section is about finding angle measurements when you know one angle measurement on a transversal, figuring out the rest of them or figuring out the pair for that angle. So when you have angle pairs on a transversal, either they're going to, if the lines are parallel, then either your pairs are going to be congruent or they're going to be supplementary. The ones that are congruent are going to be corresponding. Those are the ones that are in the same position on the angle pair and the angle cluster. So like this one is in the upper left, and so is that one. So corresponding angles are congruent. The other ones that are congruent are the ones that are on opposite sides of the transversal. So alternate interior angles are congruent and alternate exterior angles are congruent. So the way you solve these ones is you set the angle equal to the other angle. Because they're congruent, so you take your angle measure and you set it equal. A reminder that when you're looking for alternate interior, you can imagine the letter Z, and that's how you find the alternate interior angles. And alternate exterior angles are going to be outside of the transversal and in the same position. Sorry, on the other side of the transversal, outside of the parallel lines. Okay, the ones that are supplementary are the same side interior and the same side exterior. Just a reminder too, we've already covered some that are congruent. Vertical angles are also going to be congruent, and that's a reminder from last chapter. And linear pairs are also going to be supplementary. So if you see a linear pair, you also know that those are supplementary. These are old vocabulary, but still they have that same thing. When you have supplementary angles, you're going to do angle plus angle equals 180 because they make a straight line, which is 180 degrees. Okay, so if I want to find the angle measure for these lines, I know that they're parallel, first of all. So the first thing I notice is that angle 4 is in the same position as this 125 degree angle. So angle 4 is going to be 125 degrees. Now that I know that angle 4 is in that position, I know that angle 3 is also going to be congruent because it is an alternate exterior. So that one is going to be 125. And then angle 7 is in the same position as angle 3, so angle 7 is going to be 125 as well. Okay, the rest of the angles are all going to be the same, but they're not going to be 125. To figure out the rest of the angles, I'm going to do 180 minus 125, and I get 55 degrees. So that means that angle 1 is 55 degrees. Angle 2, which is a vertical angle with that one, is also 55 degrees. Angle 6, which is in the corresponding position with angle 2, is going to be 55 degrees, and angle 5 is going to be 55 degrees as well. All right. Looking at my picture for number 2, I have X and I have this 46 degree angle. They are on opposite sides of the transversal. They are inside of the parallel lines. They form a big letter Z. So these are alternate interior angles, and because they're alternate interior angles, they are congruent. So I can say 46 is equal to X. For number 3, 163 is above the transversal, and so is X. They are on the same side of the transversal, and they are exterior angles. So since they're same side exterior, they're going to be supplementary. So X plus 163 is going to be 180, or if I subtract 163, x is equal to 17. All right. I encourage you to try these ones before I go over them, so pause the video and try them, and then I'll go over them. Okay, if I look at this 34-degree angle, that is going to be congruent to angle y, because those are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are exterior to the transversal, to the parallel lines. So y is going to be 34 degrees. And then I notice that x and y form a linear pair. So x plus y is going to be 180 degrees, but I know that y is 34. So x plus 34 is 180 degrees. And if I subtract 34, that means that x is going to be 146 degrees. All right. For number 5, this 140 is going to be the same as y because those are alternate exterior angles. So 140 is going to be equal to y. And then I know that x and y form a linear pair. So, linear pair. So because x and y form a linear pair, I know that they add up to 180. So x is 40. And then since x is 40, I know that z is also 40 because z and x are vertical angles, so they're congruent. All right, for number 6, I'm looking at 1 first. So 1, I know that I only have 1 is going to be on this transversal, and it is an alternate exterior angle with 130, so 1 is going to be 130 degrees. Angle 2 makes a linear pair with a 55. Whoops. So 55 plus x equals 180. That means that 2 is going to be 25 degrees. And then looking at angle 3 is going to be a corresponding angle to the 55. So angle 3 will be 55 degrees because it corresponds to angle 2 on this other transversal. So it's in the same, not angle 2. It corresponds to so these are corresponding, 3 and 55. And then angle 4 and angle 1 are corresponding angles on the other transversal. So angle 1 is going to be the same size as angle 4. They're congruent. All right. Number 7, I'm going to find all of the angles here as well. Angle 1 is corresponding with the 116 degree angle, so angle 1 and that are congruent. Angle 2 is a vertical angle with angle 1, so that's also going to be congruent. Angle 3 is an alternate exterior angle with angle 1, so angle 3 is going to be 116. Oh, no, it's not. I lied. See, that was a trap. These two lines are not parallel. So these, even though I have a transversal, it's in the same position, but it's an alternate exterior angle, but I have not parallel lines. So the way I'm going to figure out angle 3 is I'm going to look at this linear pair. So angle 3 plus 85 is 180 degrees. And so I know that angle 3 is going to be 95 degrees. And then knowing that angle 3 is 95 degrees, if I go to that letter Z, I know that 3 and 4 are alternate interior angles, so 3 and 4 are going to be congruent, so that's also going to be 95 degrees. And when I made my Z, I used the 2 parallel lines to make that Z. All right. I can also give you more complicated equations to solve. On this one, I know that I have some parallel lines. I see a big letter Z, so I have alternate interior angles. I can set those equal to each other. 9x plus 4 is the same as 85 because alternate interior angles are congruent. So since they're congruent, I'm going to then solve for x. I'm going to subtract 4, so 9x is equal to 81. And then I divide by 9, so x is equal to 9. And then on this one, I have same side exterior. And since they're same side exterior, they are supplementary, which means I'm going to do 12x plus 23x plus 5 equals 180. I'm going to solve for that. So I get 35x is equal to 175. And so then x is equal to 5. And since x is equal to 5, oh, I'm done there. Okay. So I'll let you work through these ones, but then go ahead and unpause so you can see my solutions. So for number 5, I started with vertical angle pair. I had a vertical angle pair of 1 and 2. Since they're vertical angles, they're congruent. So I set those two angles equal to each other, and I got x by itself. X is equal to 12. And then when I know x is equal to 12, since I know that 1 and 3 are same side exterior angles, then I know that those two angles are supplementary, so I figured out that angle 3 has to be 59 degrees. For number 6, I started with 1 and 2 are same side exterior angles. Since they're same side exterior angles, that means that they have to add up to 180 degrees. I solved for x, x is 4. And then I was trying to find angle 3. I know that angle 3 and angle 1 are going to be congruent because they are alternate exterior angles, so I plugged my 4 into the expression for angle 1 to get that angle 3 is also 44 degrees. Okay. Number 7 was a review of solving a quadratic equation. So I set the two angles equal to each other because they were alternate interior angles. They formed that big Z. And then I got my quadratic equal to 0 by moving the 7x and the 11 and the 1 over. And then I looked for a product of 10 and a sum of -7, and I used -2 and -5, which means that my solution is 5 or 2, and then my missing angle is either 36 or 15 in order to make that true. All right, good luck tonight. Have fun.